Welcome, everybody, to livingthegoodlifepodcast.com. Hi, I'm Deb Moraes.
I'm Steve Cass.
We're happy to be with you. And, of course, as I often say, the spring, harbinger of spring for me is the Tanglewood brochure. Well, the summer is here, and we're up in Tanglewood, and it's been such a great week, hasn't it, Cass?
Been fabulous.
Absolutely. Of course, it's been oppressively hot here and everywhere in the Northeast, but
other than 100 degrees.
and equal humidity. And in the Berkshires, we have to tell you, there's nothing like a storm in the Berkshires. When it rains, it pours here, and it's torrential. So we happened to be at Tanglewood twice when there was a terrible storm, but we'll tell you about that later. The fun thing is that within the week that we've been here, Cass, we've just seen and done so much, haven't we?
We did.
We landed here.
We have.
We did. We have, and we still are. So Friday when we arrived, it was just before the opening of the BSO, and we were listening to the jazz at Tanglewood, the Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, and that was a Friday night. Saturday night, we were up in the Berkshires, and the Berkshires Theater Group had this wonderful production called The American Five, and it was historic, but it was just such a well-done, intimate program for 5 actors, and we were there. It was just phenomenal. Sunday, we saw Paul Simon. We've seen Jerry Garcia. Okay, so Jerry Garcia is either your demo or it's not, but even if it was not, there were young kids there, and there were people who were much older than me and Cass, and they're moving and grooving and smoking and toking and all of that. But fabulous music, because the Jerry Garcia Symphonic celebration was accompanied by the Boston Pops. What was better than that? Did you love that?
The music was phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal. People were up and rocking to that too. It was just amazing. So there's something for everyone at Tanglewood. I think most people just and only associate the Boston Symphony Orchestra with Tanglewood, and that's true. But many of the same players are with the Boston Pops, and now they've just expanded it to the Popular Artist series, where Jerry Garcia's music is there, Paul Simon, and of course, upcoming this weekend, you've got to know, it's 4th of July weekend here, and James Taylor. How many times have we seen him?
For the 40th time.
Yeah, it's probably been 40 times that we've seen him, too. And it's always a favorite. It's always sold out. No, it's more than so.
I think he now has a house in Rhode Island.
He does.
He does.
That makes him particularly a fan of ours. But, of course, while they have limits to the number of people, the place is just bulging with people. So is the Turnpike from Stockbridge to Boston, as the song goes. What a week. What a week we've had. What did you like most, Cass?
I thought the music, featuring the music of the Grateful Dead and Garcia, was phenomenal.
So are you really...
The Boston Pops, I mean, we know these guys. I've worked with that crew for many years, and they outdid themselves.
They did.
With this one.
Tell them what you did a few years ago when Jerry Garcia was still among us. What were you asked to do?
A few years ago?
A few years ago, decades ago.
In the convention center?
Yes.
When they were appearing?
Yes. What did you do?
And the promoter said to me, Steve, you have to make sure that the police don't do anything drastic to the fans, like carrying them on their shoulders out the door.
Oh, the wave or whatever.
Yeah.
Not the wave, where they cascade across
the group told us that if that happens,
oh my gosh,
they will leave.
Oh.
And there'll be no concert.
And they were serious about it, I'm sure.
So that was a big responsibility for me, because the Providence police can get pretty physical.
But they didn't have to, I gather. It was a well-attended and easy
We
going.
had a discussion.
You had a discussion.
That you guys will be responsible for thousands of people tearing the house down. I don't think you want that.
Right.
So let's not be physical with the people who are, maybe behaving in a not so nice way.
Perhaps.
Which some Rhode Islanders can be rude.
Well, actually, it can happen. But even though when we were there for Jerry Garcia on Tuesday night, there were a lot of people who were dancing and, I don't know, smoking, toking, as I said, but they were not...
smoking and toking?
Yes,
what does that mean?
You know darn well what it means. But they were certainly well behaved. They were just happy and enjoying the concert, and that's that.
Well, there have known to be some rowdy people.
Yes, it can happen.
At a Grateful Dead concert.
Sure. But it was a great concert. And of course, it was tempered by the fact that the Boston Pops was there. So, that certainly tells you that while we saw the
Well,
6 and 7 year olds.
Not in Rhode Island, what we're talking about.
No, up at Tanglewood here.
But here, yes.
Here it was really a wonderful concert. And so while we're talking about the concerts, Tanglewood has always had a variety of events open to the public. And I had the pleasure of attending one yesterday afternoon with Emanuel Ax, who's referred to as Manny Ax. What a wonderful conversation we had with him, and Anthony Fogg, who is with Tanglewood. He's been doing this, I guess, for years. What I want to tell you about it is that in this conversation, sure, he talked about his life. He was born in Soviet Union. He had parents in Warsaw, in Poland, yes, and it was wonderful to hear that he was such a regular guy, came to the United States, went to Canada, came back here, studied at Juilliard. Friends who were talking to him, he was at the Stockbridge Public Library, and he's right next to them, just waiting in line like everyone else. What an interesting thing to see such a down-to-earth guy, so down-to-earth that he was saying, even now, as wonderful as he is, and we all know he's a wonderful pianist, he gets nervous, he has anxiety before he performs, even now at his age. You would think, I've got this covered, and he certainly does, but he still has anxiety. What a great opportunity for people who are up in the area who can listen to this kind of insight to the man behind the music, so to speak.
Sure.
Last year we saw him when he did the premiere of John Williams' new piece, and I think Manny Ax said this will probably be the last piece that he'll ever do, but John Williams wrote a piano for concerto, and as I recall, if I remember it correctly, when he was writing it, Emanuel Ax said, I want to be the first person, I want to be the person who becomes your pianist. And John Williams said, done. And there we are. And it was a fabulous performance last year. He's not going to perform that this year, or at least as far as I know he's not, but he's performing in the next week or two. What a great artist, and what a terrific guy. What a fabulous week this has been, hasn't it?
What a fabulous night last night was. In some good ways and some bad ways.
We didn't even talk about that. So
no.
Last night it was the beginning of a 250 tribute, I'd say, wouldn't you? That's pretty much how you describe it, wouldn't you? What did you say?
I would say you're correct.
So it was the music of Bernstein and Sondheim. You know that they've collaborated. You know the Broadway hits, the Into the Woods, Candide, the West Side Story, just terrific music. So the first part of it was all about Leonard Bernstein, and it was all instrumental. And then the second half was all of Sondheim's music, just phenomenal music. Everyone knows Send in the Clowns, fabulous music. Well, I don't know what's Sending in the Clowns. Tell them what happened while we're sitting out on the lawn. Oh my goodness, a memorable day, evening.
Yes, we're ready to leave.
Almost.
The concert's almost over. And a police officer whispers in Deb's ear, you better get that ball out of here now, because you've got like 10, 15 minutes before we get hit by a major storm. Major, big-time storm. Well, you want to see two people
Hustle.
get organized
Did we
in
hustle?
about a minute and a half that normally takes 20 minutes, and we did.
We did.
And we got out to the car in the grass parking lot, which was pretty close, thank God. And the minute we shut the car door, the skies opened.
Lightning and thunder.
Lightning, thunder, with a 30-minute storm that was virtually over the entire region.
And we're still hearing about the fallout or the consequences of it. But we were just pleasantly sitting there, sipping our little glass of vino on the lawn, as we often do. I think
You
they
better
were
explain what vino means.
wine, of course, my little white wine, because it was so hot. We were listening. It was they were doing Sweeney Todd. When the officer comes over, he said, "Well, you've got till 5 after 10." So we just better beat feet. So it's one of the few times we've ever gotten up near the end of a concert. We don't get up in the middle of the concert, but in this case, we weren't alone. There were several others who were sitting on the lawn, and just as Cass said, once the skies opened up, what a deluge. And we didn't know that this was going to happen, but the winds were so severe. By the time we were driving back to our place at the ponds at Fox Hollow, the road was strewn with not limbs, but real trees, and we had to drive and weave around them. What a time.
As in blocking the highway.
As in blocking the road,
But
exactly.
leaving us just the width of a car to get by.
We managed to wiggle by.
Thank heaven.
And now we're still hearing that there are places out in Stockbridge where you might know Norman Rockwell Museum. Maybe it's a 10-minute ride from here, a fabulous place to go with the kids. Even that right now is out of power. So we're hoping that that recovers, because here we are July 3rd, and it's a wonderful weekend up in the Berkshires. So this has been entirely dedicated to all things Tanglewood. And of course, if we're living the good life, we certainly have been up here, wouldn't you say?
No question.
It's been great. So next time,
And you're all invited.
you're all invited. Honestly, if you have an opportunity,
2 hours from Rhode Island.
it's worth the trip. It really is.
In the car.
There are afternoon performances on Sunday at 2:30. There are evening performances that if you leave at 10, you're probably back home by 12 or so, or 1. But it's really worthwhile. There's something for everyone. They have special performances for kids, and they have the pops and the BSO and all. It's just wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And there are other things just beyond Tanglewood in this area to take advantage of. We hope you get to do that.
And for those of you who don't know, this is the summer home of the Boston Symphony and Boston Pops.
Yes,
Not a bad orchestra.
not a bad group.
Reasonably good.
They are. So we will wrap up for now, and we hope you'll stay tuned to the next segment of Living the Good Life podcast.com. I'm Deb Moraes.
Stay out of the heat.
And you're Steve Cass.
I'm Steve Cass, I think.
And we're
A
out.
very warm Steve Cass.
And we're out. Thank you.